Our presenter is George R. Solomon, and he served as the executive director of the Samueli Foundation since 2008, overseeing the family's global philanthropic activities. The Samueli Foundation, after years of significant philanthropic investment into STEM and STEAM education and learning and workforce development, came to realize that those who needed help the most were not being reached. After extended due diligence on where they were going to commit their future philanthropic dollars, they chose to go where the kids are and to speak their language. Thus, they developed a free online learning program called NASF, connecting play and learning through an innovative project-based learning initiative. Welcome to our Zoom, Mr. Solomon.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. I have two of my colleagues here, Lila and Kevin. If you can each introduce yourself and a little bit of your background, that would be terrific, if you don't mind.
My name is Lila Bowman. I'm really happy to be in front of you today and share with you the story of NASF and how impactful it is in the classroom and for students. I'm a former teacher and administrator for about 17 years and left. I worked with LEGO Education, if you're familiar with LEGO Education Robotics. Ran that curriculum for the last two, nationally with the STEM learning ecosystems especially, and joined the Samueli Foundation recently in March. Last year, as a parent and a educator who was really interested by esports, but didn't really understand how it connected with the classroom, but knowing that frankly, I was with LEGO and kids were aging out and they weren't really, and I wasn't reaching a lot of kids. I looked to esports as a way to connect STEM learning and careers, and ended up building the Florida Scholastic Esports League, which I'm like the most unlikely person to tell you this, that I did that. And it took off. So I'm happy to be here and share my experience with you.
Kevin?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kevin Brown. I am the esports program specialist with NASF and also the Orange County, California Department of Education. I am a high school CTE teacher and middle school teacher coming out of 25 years of hotel, restaurant, hospitality background. I found my way into this right after the birth of NASF, originally writing curriculum and now helping to propagate this message, put clubs out all over the globe. Really happy to be among you today.
Great. Well, thank you all for your time and attention and really appreciate it. I'm going to go through a deck and I'm going to have some videos. Hopefully they will all play, and then we'll open it up to some Q&A. As Delbo referenced, I represent Henry and Susan Samueli. Henry's the founder of a publicly traded company called Broadcom. Broadcom and Intel are the largest chip manufacturers in the world. And the idea of esports and STEM was the most serendipitous, unexpected thing that we tripped over. We have been devoting a lot of our resources to STEM education, from early learning all the way up to high school and workforce. As a foundation, we've endowed the schools at UCLA, UCI, schools of engineering, as well as Tel Aviv University in Israel. Henry's a member of the National Academy of Engineering, a recipient of the Marconi Prize. And all of our money has really been around traditional pathways. And what we realized over a period of time after building out, our last big project was 8 years leading and investing in something called STEM ecosystems, of which Mid-America is one, Tulsa is one. There are 89 around the community, around the country. One of the things we realized in all of this is we weren't reaching the kids who need it the most. And as we were doing our research and due diligence, we found some amazing statistics that really just kind of were enigmatic to us. And that is that there were a lot of kids in something called gaming and esports. And 2 years ago, candidly, I didn't even know how to turn the game on. Still don't do it well, but at least I understand a little bit more about that. And we really wanted to reach kids, disenfranchised kids, unengaged kids, find a way to bring them back into school and really make them aware of pathways, both curriculum and workforce, where they can gain the skills to be able to succeed in the work that they were doing. So I'll just share with a couple of intro slides, and I'm going to run through, and Lila and Kevin will assist me in some of this. The first slide is just really a frame around what is esports, and that is esports is really nothing more than one of many immersive experiential PBL activities. When you think about Tinker and Makering and Lego and Fab Labs and robotics and science fair, et cetera, when you add curriculum into esports and gaming, and I'm not talking about the game and the competition alone, I'm talking about a scholastic approach that we'll talk about. It is really a similar methodology and approach to learning as all these other PBL activities. The difference is, one, it's what kids love. Two, it's free. And three, it's just digital and virtual. And it's a way to meet kids where they are, speak their language, and operate in a world that they enjoy. So I share this because some people look at us and say, scholastic esports, what are you talking about? And we find that this is a frame that really helps people understand that it's really just another nuanced example of good project-based learning when you have solid curriculum behind it. The other piece, and this is to the philosophy of our foundation, is a frame around what we think our purpose is and what we think, candidly, the purpose of being a good parent, adult, and educator is. And that is to help students find their purpose in life. It's one thing to impart content and capacity and skill. It's another thing to help guide a student through their pathways of life. And if we can help find and help students identify what they enjoy, what they're good at, what communities need, what they can gain skills in, and what they can get paid for, then we really have hit that proverbial home run with that student. So between this project-based approach of connecting STEM education and STEAM education through online gaming and platforms, and the ability to use it as a means to help kids identify their trajectory in life, that's really the two core principles behind the work that we do. So really, as I said earlier, our work is about meeting kids where they are and giving them an opportunity to do their work and to have fun while they do that. What I want to do is share a couple of videos, a couple of various activities with you and the like. This is a video from Alberto Carvalho. Alberto Carvalho is the superintendent of the 4th largest school district in the United States, Miami-Dade. They have almost 500,000 students. He has adopted our free scholastic-based esports program and curriculum into his 54 high schools and over 250 schools within Miami-Dade. Let me regress for 1 minute before I share it and just indicate a couple of things. One, about the curriculum, and Kevin will talk about that in a bit because he helped write it. Our curriculum is not just a set of worksheets. Our curriculum is based upon our foundation having hired 14 teachers over a period of a number of months in late 2018 to actually write a full 4-year ELA platform-based curriculum that got approved by the Department of Education in California for all 15 CTE tracks and a middle school curriculum. So what we offer to schools, after-school programs, youth development organizations, libraries, is a free platform from competition to PBL to curriculum to PD, TA, et cetera. That's our philanthropy. That's the work we do. And Dr. Carvalho here will share his personal insights as to why he's adopted it in the 4th largest school district in the United States. Hopefully it'll play.
Esports is relevant to us because it's relevant to the kids. So if we want to transform the American classroom, if we want to make it both rigorous, relevant, but fun, if we want to excite them about their own learning, then let's bring something to them they understand, they navigate well, that adapts to the way they live, the way they entertain themselves, but let's use it as a powerful tool of education. That's why esports speaks loudly to me, because it speaks loudly to them. For those who are somewhat doubtful about the impact and the benefit, speak with your students. Gauge the level of interest and engagement in a traditional classroom where all you do is rote learning, compared to an environment where students can actually navigate an educational space that integrates STEM and STEAM, integrates new technology alongside the necessary standards. And you'll see that their mindset, the way their brains are wired, is compellingly different than the way our very own were. So if we want to maximize learning, understand the brain of a child, understand the way they think, the way they learn, what captivates them today, how connected they are, and then create environments that, quite frankly, match their own ambitions, and learning will prosper. Parents probably are often concerned about the amount of time that young people are in front of screens, but being engaged from the earlier stage of game development and participation and competition can be productive, can be engaging, can actually boost student achievement. That's why I believe in it. That's why we have it in our school system.
It's always good, I think, to hear from people who are colleagues who can share the reasoning behind what they do and how they do it. This is the most important slide in the deck to us. This is representative of exactly what we do, what we provide, and how we do it. As I alluded to just a few moments ago, Kevin Brown, who is the CTE teacher at Orange County Department of Education in California, with a grant from us, went ahead and brought together teachers from the University of California and Orange County Department of Ed and actually created the curriculum that ties into not how to better play the game, but the holistic ecosystem of what it is that you can gain from play and participation through esports and gaming. All of the work was developed and tied through and with in consideration of all of the standards in California, from Common Core, CTE, NGSST, and CASEL standards. And what you see at the right are the 4 domains that represent the 4 years of ELA-based platform learning and all of the curriculum attendant to that. So when we talk about learning, as I said, it's not about how to play the game better, but it's about these 4 domains. And when you think about a team, whether it's a baseball team, a hockey team, any kind of athletic team, you have a core group of people who play that attract them into a club environment. But through that and in support of that, every team, every component, every club have people who are interested in ancillary activities, and that's the curriculum. The curriculum is around software development, shoutcasting, fandom art, and social media work. It's around biz dev. It's around marketing and web development, IT, event management, theory crafting, data analytics, and the like. So the kids get together in a club environment, and at the same time, we sprinkle in through the curriculum that Kevin's built, the idea of how do you connect gaming and esports into the classroom in CTE tracks and ELA tracks and a variety of different activities. And then they meet in the club environment in 0 period, after school period, whatever it may be, to actually engage in the play. So they see the real world connection and then the pathways that they can use both the curriculum and in workforce opportunities to pursue that. I have Lila on the call here. She stood up the Florida Esports program. I'm going to have her explain for a minute what it looks like and how it actually sits in both a classroom and in a competition, so you can have a better appreciation for what it is. So please go ahead and describe that.
Yeah, sure. So when I first heard of the NASF curriculum, I kind of expected the standard textbook, right? The scope and sequence and pacing guides. And what I found instead was a set of a full 4-year ELA curriculum, and then over 70 toolkits in a variety of different types of activities. I knew in Florida that ELA would be really hard to be able to incorporate esports. You know, it's a very test-focused state, and teachers hold on to those books and they're not going to move. But we did know that in the CTE track specifically, there would be the ability of teachers to incorporate scholastic esports into the courses that they were teaching. So that was the approach we took. In Florida, we did a CTE approach. And what that looked like was teachers from hotel and event management, sports management, business tech, entrepreneurship, graphic design, game design. There are a number of different types of CTE pathways. They actually utilized our curriculum in the school day. They integrated it into their classroom. So for example, if it's a class that's building a web page and part of it's HTML, the web page that they build out or the website that they build out was for around a scholastic esports or an esports club. If it was cybersecurity, they spoke about cybersecurity within Scholastic Esports. And whether it was graphic design, they built up logos and fan art for Scholastic Esports. But in order to then make it available to all students, they also created a club after school. So there's both an in-class during the day component that's incorporated into existing classes, and then they built a club after the school. And that club is different from a team. You have a club like any other kind of club that there might be, like a gaming club, or, you know, I'm going to give myself away here a little bit. I had a knitting club. And you have teams within your club. Those teams play esports. They play different titles like Rocket League you may have heard of, or Overwatch you may have heard of. The majority of kids that come to that club, they are interested in esports, or they're interested in gaming. They may not necessarily be competitive gamers, but they may be just casual gamers, and they want to hang out. And while they're hanging out in that club and playing, they take on roles. They're presidents of the club. They help organize the tournaments. They build up partnerships. They design web, what they call it, kids call merch. They design the merch. So in other words, kids build up the club and provide tournaments and fun and excitement. And then we teach them through the building up of the club a number of different skills, whether they are skills that you see here in these 4 domains. To close it, what school districts really needed to do, because there was a lot of like kind of mystery for parents and teachers, like, how can I literally see esports? Because right now when I see esports, I see just kids playing on a screen. It's hard for me to connect that with something that's academic. So what we would do is we took literally this particular infographic and we had tournaments. And in those tournaments or challenges, kids would be playing in the middle. They'd be competing, just like you'd be competing in a soccer game, for example. So if esports is something totally foreign to you, just think of a soccer game in the middle or a football game in the middle. And then surrounding those kids that were playing was all of the student work, all of the relevant responses, all of the artifacts of work that these kids made to support the team. So if you were to go to a football game, you'd see people selling snacks, right? You'd see jerseys, you'd see t-shirts of support, the Booster Club, the Spirit Club, you'd see banners around the field. Same thing for esports, but it's made by kids. And they do it digitally, they do it in the club, and they also compete in all of what we call these Beyond the Game challenges. So every student that's in a Scholastic Esports club is celebrated and also competes, even though they're not necessarily gaming. And in fact, what we found was that like 90% of the kids that are in these clubs are not gamers, but they're actually building all of this content. So that's directly related to careers and pathways. So that's how we did it. We created Scholastic Esports tournaments. They looked just like that picture. Parents understood it because they could say, oh, okay, I get it. You're making something that supports a team. Oh, my kid's having a ton of fun. Oh, there's an actual career that connects to what my child is doing about something that they love. That's how we made that approach, and it wildfire. I mean, it took off.
Yeah, so what she was able to create in 4 months was working in 11 school districts, from Miami-Dade to Broward to Orange to Palm to Jacksonville to Tampa, et cetera, with over 1,000 kids in a very short period of time. And as you'll see later, I will give you some statistics on the work. Kevin, I'm going to ask you, if you could, to just kind of talk a little bit about the curriculum. I have some slides here that I can share with you, and as I put up the slides, if you could speak to them, that would be great.
Sure. Hello, everyone. So this was the great unicorn in the room, you would imagine. So trying to go to your state authorizing body and saying, I've got a great idea. I'm going to merge English and a CTE class that makes sense. We've got all kinds of predicated examples where you write English for business or English for marketing. That makes perfect sense. Trying to convince our state board that esports belonged in this realm was an uphill boulder roll. We wrote the curriculum in about a month, the baseline curriculum. It took about 4 months of aggressive negotiations to get them to understand the point about this. Like Lila was just saying, when they put it in context, we actually had people come out to some of the tournaments to look at what was happening and seeing what was going on. Then the light bulbs went on. So as you see here on the slide, we wrote, picking into those domains, we lined it up with English classes where it made sense. So game simulation works with English 9 in California because kids are learning about the narrative. What is the hero's journey? What is tone and voice? And how do you shape characters, mapped very well to what would happen if the kids were actually designing a video game. So there was immediate correlation between the English class, a CTE class, and how they could have output. And then as we go through this in the succeeding years, we chained everything up again to a domain and then wrote against that. So sophomores now need to present more. They need to go fact-finding. They need to be able to substantiate an argument, be able to write persuasive and convincing speeches, perfect for entrepreneurship. Also key to this was the lesson about failing, F-A-I-L, first attempt in learning. So socializing the idea that kids can try something, and when it doesn't work the way you planned, that's okay too. It's a learning attempt. We took that then into 11th grade marketing, and this became really rubber meets the road because these kids were now building the plans that would help them eventually lead into 12th grade, which is selling this idea about a tournament on campus. 12th grade, again, I wrote this in particular from my hospitality background, big event management process, is you spent the entire year, yes, doing all of your English requirements, but at the same point you were planning for a gigantic esports event on campus, and you needed the preceding 3 years to come up with your logos, to do the banners, to come up with the business plan, to talk with industry leaders around you to help support and fund it so that you could pull this thing off. So it all wove together. Again, I saw somebody writing a comment in the chat about what a great way to put integrated curriculum. This was sort of the opus about that. Gerald, could you go to the next one?
Sure.
Or do you want to tee this up? This is about the grids. Number 16, please.
Okay. I have this. Okay. Sorry.
There we go.
You go.
Yes. So this all came to this head. It's a little bit difficult to see it in a small screen, but we went from bigger than English. At that point, teachers and schools were asking us, this is great. We can take this in chunks, or we can take this entire quarters or semesters. This is fantastic. What else do you have? And so we laid into the idea, we drew out these grids. And I know it's difficult to see on the screen, but where you've got the dark blue column, which is layering from 8th grade early socialization of this concept, 9 through 12, we have all the career tech education classes, and then our state college entry requirements, English, math, history, science, curriculum, or other extracurricular activities, foreign language. And then on the extreme right side, you've got work-based learning, and then high school articulated courses that can be taken at community or four-year universities. Think of this as an undergrad program for an incoming freshman, a kid who might be a little bit disenchanted with school, does okay, but doesn't really see herself as belonging to the campus, no sense of real spirit or things like that, but latches onto the idea that, but I game, and I like to game. This particular example leans into fandom art and media. She likes to draw. She's drawing the next new character for a game that she's got in her mind. And here she can see that the school actually has a plan for me. I can take career tech education classes and all of these other courses. Every one of these courses you see on the grid has been state approved. So the history courses are state approved. It's history that's required at grade level, but also interspersed with esports or cybersecurity or STEM thinking or design thinking, all of it meshed together. So by the time she graduates as a senior, she has all of her college entry requirements done. She has marketable skills because she's had 3 classes, an intro, a completer, and a capstone class for a particular career education. In this case, it's video game design or computer practices. And then also may have anywhere from 3 to 15 units of college credit built up. It's not if I go to college, it's when I go to college. Where do I go to college?
So let me go ahead and share with you, if we could,
Please.
Part of what happened as a result of this was a request from out-of-school and after-school programs. Here's one from the YMCA, how we truncated all of the curriculum into 8-week sessions. We have them in a variety of structures and components, and really it's very malleable, and that's part of what Kevin and his team at Orange County Department does, is they actually meet with local school districts, teachers, educators, administrators, and through the professional development and the TA, which is at no cost to schools, we provide that opportunity to help them interweave what he's talking about into it. This is an example of what one of the modules looks like. Kevin, if you could just talk to that for a minute, please.
Sure. So this was, the ask from YMCA was they wanted to get into esports. They saw it as a way to bring back the older kids. Most kids go to YMCAs. They learn to play their first traditional sport. They learn to swim. They learn other activities. They learn to socialize, typically between elementary and middle school ages. Right about 8th grade, kids get older. I'm going into high school, and they drift off. So that affects the WISE membership. They wanted to find a way to bring kids back in. So esports, they thought, was the hook, was the way. So I designed for them an 8-week program, so 2 weeks for each of the 4 domains that we offer, and then a capstone project. But I realized that those who would facilitate this were not teachers themselves. They weren't credential bearing. They had not taught in traditional classrooms. They were college graduates who were site facilitators. They led other kinds of activities. So this needed to be a relatively light lift, something that anybody could pick up, read an hour before, but then at the same point, execute against this plan and give a great end user experience. The kids had a great time. They learned about it. So you can see on the right-hand side, all the different, you've got 2 weeks, 2 sessions for each of our different domains. And you can see that we've color coded it there. So again, not needing to be teachers, they didn't realize they were actually teaching state standards. We color coded it so they could see if a parent or an administrator walked in and said, "What are you doing?" They could show them these teacher notes, the lesson plan, and show where all the standards were called out. So we call this chocolate broccoli. We're giving the kids something that they want, that's good for them, but we wrap it in a heavy coat of something that they want to consume, esports. So we've done this for 2 different sessions, 2 different semesters with YMCA right before COVID forced all of the closures. I worked with them to revamp this, and it had gone great guns. They actually had to double up the sections they were offering, hiring more people because this was so popular.
And I can add to, I'm sorry, Gerald, and I can add to that. So when you're speaking with teachers, I worked with principals or district administrators, and they found CTE teachers or other teachers that were interested, but their big concern was, sorry, my kid's having a class behind me, that they were interested in esports, but they were afraid of doing it because they didn't really know that much about esports. They didn't know about the games. And they said, how can I run an esports club or team if I don't play the games and I don't really know about that? So that's how we come in. We come in shoulder to shoulder with you right now virtually, right? But before it was, we literally go to your schools and with your teachers, run the professional development, help you through the different formats, work with, like Kevin said, if the format that you have is integrated into the classroom with a club after school, or if you're looking at a cartwheel approach, we help build out that framework with you, and then help you develop lesson plans around that, or actually go through some of the actual lesson plans that we have that are existing. And the other part is we also provide free coaches. So here's the weird nomenclature, right? And I didn't know this, so I'll share it with you. A general manager is a teacher. Like the GM, like a general manager of a baseball team. They're the teacher, and the players are the students. The coach, right? Like you have a first base coach and a third base coach. The coach is the expert in the actual title of the game. So we provide for free near peer mentors. These are kids that have been vetted, background checked, and they actually provide through webinars to live with the students how to get better at the game. So that huge lift is off the shoulders of teachers to say, whoa, I don't know how to do that. But kids want to get good. They want to perform well. We provide that expertise to you.
Thank you. So let me get back to the scholastic pieces, what we're talking about here. And that is, if we were true to what our mission is, which is about empowering students to thrive and grow and reach their potential, we set up NASF as a nonprofit that is a subcomponent to our foundation. We set up an advisory board, and to be true again to the education and learning piece, our advisory board is comprised of the chancellor at the University of California, the dean of the School of Education at Cal State Fullerton, the president of Chapman College, the superintendent of schools at Orange County Department of Ed, and a sundry of other people within education in the local community of Orange County. They are our North Star. They are the people who guide us, that help us make sure that our curriculum is aligned with the standards. They are the advisory board and committee to all the work that Kevin and the educators do. And as I've indicated multiple times, this is our philanthropy. This is our way of going to where we think kids are, as the old saying goes, go to where the puck will be, not where it is. That's Wayne Gretzky's saying. And that's what we try to do, is meet kids where they are and speak their language, but be true to the academics. We formed this, and we started it in 2018 with 23 schools in Orange County in California. As of now, and these numbers are a little bit old, we have nearly 1,000 clubs in 46 states. We're in all of North America. We have MOUs with Japan, UK, Mexico, Israel, and now South Africa. We have just partnered with the National Robotics Association in South Africa to do in tandem with their National Robotics program, our NASF Esports program. And all of this, again, is our philanthropy and The teaching, the curriculum, the learning, the training, the PDTA, et cetera, is all free. In addition to that, in order, again, to ensure that there is efficacy behind the curriculum and the content being delivered, we gave a $1 million grant over 3 years to Constance Steinkuhler, who was the director of gaming at OSTP under the Obama administration, who happens to now be at the University of California. She received IRB approval for her research and evaluation. And she and her team evaluate our work and the scholastic approach to esports. I'll play a short little video from her. I'll get into a little bit of the evaluation, research, and data, and then we'll be able to conclude.
My name is Constance Steinkuhler. I'm a full professor here in informatics and I study games. My expertise is on social interaction and cognition. My game of choice tends to be player versus player kind of online games. I'm really interested in all of the social interaction and social sort of collaboration and competition that happens in games and then around the games. And we have a lot of different faculty here who are actually working on game-related topics. The connection between esports and STEM, between esports and academics generally. Gaming is a very cerebral and smart kind of activity. In their game spaces, they're doing like really high-end theory crafting, they're doing data science. It's a ton of delayed gratification. If you're gonna get good at any of the games, it takes a lot of work, it takes hours of discipline, of play. And so the idea that they're kind of barren intellectually, it's sort of a foolish idea the moment you pick up a title. It takes screen time and it turns it into activity time. In today's kind of climate, we really underestimate how important it is just to play and to do things because they're interesting and fun. It's actually an important part of development.
We're now in our third year of data analytics that they provide through this IRB-approved evaluation. And what the findings are really heartwarming to us and quite significant. There is a good deal of quantitative activity around the core attributes and characteristics for STEM, ranging from scientific exploratory activities, data interpretation, analytics, qualitative reasoning, problem solving, kind of your ELA and communication skills and the like. And the data shows not only that, but really, especially in the CASEL standards around those so-called 21st century soft skills, which are always so hard to teach, a significant uptake in what it is when kids have to work together, think together, play together, and build the relationships around teamwork, communication, leadership, and the like. The part that was most profound to us was the lens of equity. And that is that the impact was greatest for those at the lowest socioeconomic strata. And it really makes sense when you think about it, because the kids who are part of these clubs are not the football players, the basketball players, the chess club players, et cetera. These are kids who have either checked out or not been part of regular activities. These are kids oftentimes who don't have the resources at home, may come from a single parent household, may have other responsibilities that they have. For the first time, there was a sense of belonging, a self-affirmation, a sense of self-development. And all of that has really had such a huge impact, especially on girls, people of color, and the like, who haven't felt an association and a connection to school or school activities. The way we do this is very simple. It's about connecting learning, play into this concept. We form a club, we give toolkits, and I'm running through this fairly quickly on things, but I think you'll get the gist of what it is. The toolkits prescribe in really templated forms. How do you set up the club? When the club gets set up, you set up the business plan, you elect officers, they define what they want to be, where they want to go, they build out their website, they do their fandom art, they do their social media work. All of that gets integrated into the classroom activities. So in the graphic design classroom, instead of just building a graphic design for a newspaper or a periodical, they're now building it for their club and their school and the like. And we don't give out any money. Everything is all based upon providing scholarships, internships, and mentorships. And we respect and honor all of the ancillary activities around those 4 domains as we talked about. It's not just giving rewards and recognition to the player, but with each competition, we do a logo design competition, a social media competition, a blog competition, a competition around photography and videography, et cetera. and all of them get equal recognition because this is about the learning. This is about finding the career pathways. In addition to all of this, to build capacity in this, we have decided as a foundation, as we did with Lead STEM and the STEM Ecosystem Project, we have created a national network of scholastic fellows. We have chosen 25 educators, and we give them $2,500 a year. They go through a year's worth of training, and they learn about the curriculum and the scholastic connection between academics and play and gaming. This was our first cohort. We just graduated them literally 2 days ago. We have a second cohort application process that is out on the website. We actually have people, educators from South Africa, from Israel, from France, from UK, from Japan, from Mexico, et cetera, who are all going to be part of our second year of our cohort. Just to give you a little sense of our expansion, this is our expansion into Japan. This is our expansion into the UK, just a kind of a fun little signing of the agreement over dinner. This is our relationship with the US State Department. We brought this work into Mexico about a few months ago. We're in the middle of now a Minecraft COVID challenge where kids are taking Minecraft and building the COVID virus, building the perfect COVID home and the COVID hospital. And in less than 2 weeks, we have 1,710 students who are part of this free online competitive platform where they are using engineering design, design thinking, design principles through Minecraft to address the science of COVID. And then they're using Flipgrid to go ahead and videotape and put on and narrate what it is that they've created. A true confluence of tech and STEM and ELA type of activities, using Minecraft as the play vehicle to be able to make that happen. Because of our relationship with the State Department, we're now expanding along what they call the American Spaces, and with their support and help, we are in the next few years going to almost 600 communities around the world, bringing this work out to them. I'm going to share one last video because it's always good to see how a child thinks about this. And this is a story of one child in Miami about how he thinks about and participates in one of our programs.
Teacher got word that there was going to be an esports club, and they told him, want to do it? He's like, yeah, for sure. He jumped on, and when he told us about the esports club, what we started to do very quickly, we got onto NASF, and you guys have a list of all the colleges that are in the program. So we immediately started emailing all the colleges there, sending emails, hey, if you guys have any promotional stuff, any material, any shirts, anything you can tell us about your colleges and any scholarships dealing with esports, could you please send us that material? And then we had all those colleges respond, and they would mail us stuff. So we have a big wall with all the flags of the colleges. So when the kids come and we talk to their parents, we can not only tell them how it's going to help them in school and how it's not like traditional sports, but we can also show them these are the scholarships, these are the real world opportunities that your son or daughter will be getting if they join our club. My favorite thing about Esports Club is the diversity. When you look at that door, you don't know who's going to come through. It's kids of all ages, all sizes, all colors, and we try our best, me and my fellow officers, to make the club a safe environment, you know, no bullying. We want that place to feel like a second home to the kids who come, just play games with their friends and enjoy. And it's such a diversity, you know, you see the quiet kids you see around school that you would never think you'd talk to, you see them there, and then you start playing with them, you get to know them better, and you figure out, you know, they're actually the cool people, they're just very shy. So I think it's very great that the club is very diverse, and just everyone's there. It's not just one group. I don't have much time to really play, as I have 2 AP classes, I'm doing dual enrollment, I have 4 honors classes. I got stuff to worry about in school, so I don't really have time to go home and practice to hone my skills in a certain game to then play and compete. But at home, after I do my homework, I'll get on my laptop and I'll log into the NASF portal and I'll check to make sure, you know, who's registered, who's not, what tournaments we got coming up. I'll log into the Discord. I'll see what announcements we have sent, what announcements we still have to send. I'll email, I'll text my vice president and my secretary, hey, we got to get this done. Remember, we have these deadlines. We're actually orchestrating a tournament in our school. So we're buying tickets now, we're making flyers, we're mass printing them so we can put them all around the school, walking around personally asking teachers, hey, can we put flyers on your door, please, for the tournament? So we're setting all that up now, so at our school, you know, we can have a big tournament. the career that I get, I'm going to use that money to try to start a business or invest and, you know, make more money out of it. I've always been very business driven, so I guess it's a little easier for me to be in a management position. You guys are our sponsor. You guys gave us 2 Switches, I believe. But apart from that, we bought 4 Xboxes and 6 games for the classroom, so we could have more consoles so more kids can come and play the games they love. And we don't have a very big school. Our school's only 1,500 students. But in the first meeting, we managed to hit 174 students just showed up. We needed 2 big rooms to house them all. So I just want to thank you for everything you've done, and it's made a big impact in our school.
So that's a little bit about who we are, the work we do, and I'll stop sharing here and we'll go back to kind of the video screen. As I said, this is our philanthropy. We've had 18 years of investing in STEM education around the country and the world, and we came across this and said, this is an interesting way to try to connect kids' passion and play with some real purpose and educational trajectory and career opportunities, and it really, candidly, has taken off far, far beyond anything we could have ever imagined. It's our philanthropy. It's free to schools. It's free to educators. And if you're interested, we're glad to be able to assist and support that in your communities. So thank you for your time. Any questions? Glad to answer any questions. Maybe
any
I know
questions
Scott,
at all for Gerald or Kevin or Layla?
Courtney had a question. It's how do I get started? Where do we begin? Where does middle school begin to make part of this? And middle school definitely is a part, because you can't stop them, because all those middle schoolers have brothers and sisters in high school and they see all this cool stuff happening and they're like, what's for me? So that was the request to write middle school curriculum. It was actually, I piloted it myself at my grandson's middle school. I had a mixed class of 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. And so we came up with a great quarter-long program that can unfold and actually be, some teachers are testing it here in California for a year-long program that adds into math classes, science, etc. Wonderful uses, things that I could not have imagined myself. I only think the way I do, but other teachers are really inventive.
Let me add to that, Kevin, if
please,
I can.
Please.
So you know there are 2 programs that are being launched this summer that should you want your kids to become involved in, and it's from 3rd grade to 12th grade. And it's using Minecraft, and it's called Minecraft Masters. Some of you may have seen the Lego Masters television show. This will be an international competition that we're doing in partnership with Microsoft and Minecraft, where we're going through an international competition around the variety of different elimination challenges that will occur in July into August. And then we just signed, for those of us who are a little bit older and may know it or use it in our classrooms, we just signed a collaboration agreement with Rube Goldberg. And we are going to be the digital platform for the Rube Goldberg Challenge. And that's going to start in September, and it will be a 6-month program with professional development and training leading up to the digital challenge of having students create their Rube Goldberg Challenge. So we do a lot of different things. It goes across all spans of learning. And again, it goes from 3rd grade up to 12th grade, depending upon what students want to be able to do. And all students have to do is have access. We provide all of the Microsoft EDU licenses for free to students and to systems. And kids can get on and compete and participate, build their communities, and then do the learnings through what we do through Flipgrid, Nearpod, Zoom, et cetera, for educators and teachers on how to incorporate that experience into the classroom.
I see a comment here on Rube Goldberg. I'm in, and you know, and that's great. So I'll give you a quick rundown on what that would look like for those of you who are interested. So number 1, it will be free. So those of you who've done Rube Goldberg know that it typically has a cost of, I think, like $395 or something for a team. But the digital, it'll be officially a part of the official Rube Goldberg Machines contest, and kids can participate either digitally with us through Minecraft and powered by NASF, or they can do the physical one or both. But the digital one will be free, entirely free so that really creates, you know, our philanthropy is about impact and access. And this makes it, you know, provides full access, including those licenses for Minecraft, which can, for kids. And someone shared with me, how is that considered esports, right? Well, the difference between a game and a sport, right, is organization and competition. So an esport is, again, it's organized, it's competitive, and kids are in a team and they're building something. So Minecraft is flexible enough for us to create an esports experience. And with Rube Goldberg, you'll also hit all your standards. There's so many of them, and the way that we'll do it is for the fall. It'll launch in September. We'll have 6 mini competitions for the fall semester for each of the 6 simple machines. So there'll be a mini competition for each simple machine. That way, kids will learn how to build a simple machine in Minecraft. So they'll level that playing field. And then in January, it'll launch with the official Rube Goldberg, machines contest. And as a team, they'll build out in Minecraft their amazing, cool Rube Goldberg, and they'll announce the winners in April.
Thank you for the questions. Any other questions?
Looks like there was another question there, but I think that Kevin answered that.
So if I may just conclude, Dubbo, if you don't mind, we've been working with Scott Fry and the Mid-America group and the STEM ecosystem there about being what's called an affiliate, which is basically a centralized conduit where you all will have autonomy to do what you want and take advantage of our curriculum and programming and competition when and where you want to. Scott and his team are going to kind of stand that up in collaboration and partnership with some of you. And we just look forward to the opportunity to work with some of you in bringing this opportunity of connecting play and education and learning into the classroom and into opportunities for developing articulated pathways for curriculum and careers for kids.
I do see some questions here around that there are already high schools that have esports. That's great. It's, you can have as many as you like, right? You can work with, there are other, organizations that provide esports. You can do both. You can do 3. This is about providing opportunities for kids. Ours is the only one with a curriculum, certainly one that is aligned to standards and is state approved. And I'm biased, obviously, but I will say that it's only when it's also research based, and we've seen the impact of that. But just to let you know, it's not exclusive. You don't have to choose just one. Kids can have a variety of experiences and then be more competitive in all of that. Another question about, does a website have to have all of the information to do the curriculum? In order to have access to the curriculum, you have to activate your club, right? And that's where we have Fidelity. We help go to the mission of what we do with NASF. That means when you activate a club and you roster your kids, we will work with you, help you understand what the curriculum is, and then guide you through all of the different resources, because there are so many, like the coaches that we spoke about, et cetera.
And that's what Scott Fry and his team in the ecosystem will be doing, is helping to facilitate that activity.
And I might jump in here, Gerald. I saw that there was a comment by Christina Conley about RSU Esports and the degree program that they have in place. And so RSU Esports has agreed to be a big part of what we're going to put together here in Northeast Oklahoma. And their team is going to act as mentors for the individual schools, which provides community learning opportunities for their students. So they're going to be a big, big piece, and we're very excited about that.
Hey, now Don had a question that said, what's our next step?
The next step is to contact Scott, and Scott will go ahead and help activate the local school clubs. And then as you start to get together groups, we will then, at least at the current time, we will do video trainings and webinars. Prior to COVID, the team that we had who's on this call and others, we literally flew to Japan, we flew to UK, we flew to Israel, we've flown all over the country and do face-to-face trainings, usually over a couple of days when we do the face-to-face activity. There is no cost to that to you. That is part of the professional development that our foundation is providing around STEM, STEAM education, and the like.
Okay. Gerald, Layla, and Kevin, thank you so much for what you do, not just locally, but for what you do worldwide. We appreciate you guys very much.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate the time, everyone. Look forward to getting to know you better. Take care.
All righty. Thank you.